Hello, friends. It is 3 a.m. after league start, and we are exhausted. It was an awesome over 14-hour stream. Absolutely loved the experience of leveling this character. Absolutely loved all of you and the support of all of you, whether you were there or in spirit, kind of cheering us on and just having a great time getting through the early stages of 3.17. This is, and I am not exaggerating, I am not clickbaiting or anything here. This really is one of my favorite ways and favorite experiences I've ever had leveling in Path of Exile. It felt really good earlier this week, but especially with the buffs. And I did find one item that had a nice tier 1 cast speed roll on it. It just feels so crispy. It blows up the entire screen. And actually, this character is quite tanky, all things considered. So yeah, we were just joshing around the whole time on stream, eating pretzels, drinking our coffee, chatting and everything, helping people out. I even took a break in the middle and heisted for a little while, and I'll get into that in a second. And we still got to maps in less than 10 hours, which, considering how much we were just kind of playing around and all that, I'm very, very happy with. All right, so let me show you what I got. In terms of what I did with the tree, it is very, very close to what I showed you yesterday. I did play around a little bit here. And I just want to remind you that you get like 13 refund points just from leveling up through the campaign. So any differences between your tree and mine, really don't sweat it. My decisions are also not final. I'm just kind of playing around with it. I make a lot of like game time decisions. So don't look at what I have as like a final thing either. Just try to understand like why I might have made those choices, and you can absolutely just make your own flavor if you want to. So on the right side here, you can see that I actually went up the middle and grabbed these nodes instead of going up through here and grabbing these nodes. The reason why I did that is I'm just planning for the future when we will have a cluster jewel here. And since I wanted to get into different auras a little bit sooner than I was planning, I went to grab Influence earlier than I was originally intending. Other than that, I did end up taking Breath of Lightning. This is really just intended to get a little bit of free damage early. These are lower value nodes. They don't give us a ton of damage, but it does help us out because after we do the core of the nodes that we want to go all the way down here, and it's pretty uncomfortable. And the amount of traveling that we have to do here to get down to the actual useful meaty nodes is enough where I felt like it was a bit of a dead zone, and I decided to take some early damage nodes just to make things more comfortable, and then I'll unspec those later and move them to something more valuable, like a cluster jewel. The one really notable thing that you'll see here is that I did remove elemental overload. So I kept that all the way until I got to about tier 2 maps, a nice chunk after the campaign, but I noticed that my damage felt not really what I wanted, and I wanted to test, hey, am I critting enough with enough damage to maybe get value out of removing elemental overload? This will give me more shocks, chills, freezes, as well as sometimes nice spikes in damage. And with all of the critical strike stuff that we already have, this actually felt about the same, if not better, and it allowed me to move these 2 points to something that might be a little bit more valuable. In terms of my immediate plans for like the next 5 to 10 levels, I'm 72 right now, going up to about 80, is to probably get a cluster jewel here. Really want those notables that you'll see in the POB from 2 videos ago, the one where I show like the really, really endgame stuff. And these will really push our damage to the next level. Besides that, my number one goal, because I really want to solve defenses really before anything else to make everything comfortable. If you haven't done the Arch Nemesis stuff, it's really cool. It's like a metamorph that's actually a little bit simpler, and they are really, really rippy at times. Once you juice them all the way up, they will hit like a truck. They have all sorts of crazy new abilities. You got to be really, really careful there. And I just feel like I need to solve those defenses. So because of that, my real primary goal here is just to make a beeline down to Divine Shield. Divine Shield says 3% of fizz damage prevented from hits recently is regenerated as energy shield per second. So if we take really, really big fizz hits, if we have really good fizz mitigation, we can actually just get crazy high energy shield regen, which just gives us a really consistent layer of defense. In terms of my labs, what I did is Legion of the Primordial first, then Elemancer, and then Mastermind of Discord. Once I find an Offering of the Goddess, I will be going Heart of Destruction. If you want to go more defensive, you absolutely can grab Bastion of Elements. You become immune to reflected damage, and it gives you a good elemental shield. I am going to be confident enough in my defenses, especially with Divine Shield, Determination, really, really good armor, that Heart of Destruction is really what I'm looking for. That's really all I'm thinking is Divine Shield, Sanctum of Thought, Devotion, and Faith and Steel. The same stuff, if you check the POB from 2 days ago from the endgame prototype, that's really what I'm thinking. I want those things over here. and then probably drop Breath of Lightning and get a Cluster Jewel. That should take you close to about level 90, which hopefully you don't get too far ahead of me and blast ahead of that. If you get past that, probably just throw in more Cluster Jewels. You can't go wrong with more Cluster Jewels. Now, in terms of gearing and gems, really there's nothing special here. This is just go for armor and evasion bases. Get as much of that as possible, make it really, really comfortable, and obviously life and resistances to, really have that baseline. I got really lucky pretty early on. This is about an Act 3 Scepter. It has +1 to level of all lightning spell skill gems and some flat lightning damage. This is just really, really good early off the bat. Ideally, we do want to move to a Rune Dagger so we can Whirling Blades around, get that nice mobility. But right now, the name of the game is solid offense and solid defense. Utility, mobility, stuff like that can come a little bit later. Some of this gear I have worked on after getting into maps. I found a Harvest, did some reforges, some stuff like that, but really just regular life resist, all that type of stuff, anything block, nothing special here. As you can tell, I'm focusing on life as much as possible, and I have some pretty good rolls on some of this gear, but this is just solo self-owned. I haven't bought any of this gear besides the ring that you see there, and yeah, it feels pretty good so far. Damage is going to be the next thing that I work on. I'm actually at the point where I'm happy with my defense, but it's pretty good. Now, the one important special thing here is the Call of the Brotherhood. As you saw in the prototype, and as I talked about it, this is the one unique that really enables a lot about how the build works and the way that we want to scale our damage through Trinity. I was able to get this for 10 chaos. The price is going up every single second, but if you do take a moment in like Act 6, you start doing lockpicking contracts, you can really get that currency up and kind of catch up with it and buy it before the price gets too high. And I just did a search. It's not too out of control yet. I don't think this 10 chaos is really going to be real. Looks like it's about 25 chaos, and it was about that a couple hours ago, so maybe it's stabilizing here, but do keep a watch on this. This is still not that much chaos, and if you just did 1, maybe 2 hours of heist, you can get enough chaos here to buy this thing ASAP before you even get out of the campaign. In terms of the gems and my layout here, none of this is final. This is just, some of these things are just because that's the colors that I had. I did run out of chromes a bunch of times, so sometimes I wanted to use added cold damage, but I had a red gem and actually just threw an inspiration. Sometimes you just got to make do with what you have, especially if you're playing kind of pseudo solo self-found. Don't look at this as gospel. Chaos Golem and a Clarity, Orb of Storms linked with added lightning damage, energy leech support, and this is just like I was saying, I would prefer added cold damage here, but we got inspiration and that's okay. In the shield, we have Elemental Weakness, Flame Dash, and Arcane Surge. In the body armor, Hydrosphere, Summon Lightning Golem, Summon Stone Golem, Steel Skin, which I have on my left click, like this. In the boots, Summon Ice Golem, Determination, and Defiance Banner. And then in the gloves, added lightning damage, added cold damage, and faster casting linked with arc. If we got a 5th link, I would replace the added cold damage with increased critical strike support. And then the 5th link would be Trinity, of course. All right, it's 3:30 now. That's all I got. Hopefully that answers most of your questions and gives you a good roadmap and lets you see what I did. This was really an absolute joy to level. It was so fast and so smooth. Definitely check the VOD out. I know it's a really, really long VOD, but might be worth clicking through if you want to see just what that experience was like, if you are on the fence about what this feels like to level. Tons and tons of people just kept commenting on the video and in chat, telling me how awesome and how much fun it was. And I can't wait to figure out how to scale this with y'all and just have an absolutely spectacular 3.17. So yeah, I need to go put the pizza in the oven, have my lunch, get some rest, and then I'm going to kick off the stream. Super, super excited to just say hi to you all and see how you all do, absolutely dominating with this build. So thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.